Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another figure review. Next up is the Hasbro Marvel Legends series Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Spider-Man 2099. So this is going to be probably one of the more popular figures in the wave, just because it's Spider-Man 2099. But these figures are pretty crazy, right? I mean, the super stylized look, not a lot of people are a fan. You know, very thin proportions, like thin waist and like thin legs and stuff. But it's pretty crazy. So looking at the package just kind of right away, he is a much thicker one. As you can see, this is the package from Miles, and then Spider-Man 2099 and Jessica Drew both have kind of this larger packaging style. But let's get right into it. So we have Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse movie logo up there. This was originally designed when it was a part 1 and a part 2. The movies have since changed to be Across the Spider-Verse, and then the sequel, the next one being Beyond the Spider-Verse. But these, you know, originally the movie was supposed to come out in October. The figures would have released around that time, but the movie got delayed to January, so we're just now seeing these. But these have been popping up at like Walmart and stuff. They will officially go on order April 10th through all your favorite retailers: Toy Snowman, Entertainment Earth, Big Bad, Amazon, Hasbro Pulse. April 10th will be the day. Most places will likely be in stock. Not a pre-order, but I'm sure some sites will be a pre-order. But like Toy Snowman, they'll actually have it in stock. I know that. So you guys could check it out. But here we have Spider-Man 2099. Looking at the back of the package, we see the figure and all the figures in the wave. There's no kind of bio or anything like that. So we're getting right to it. So off camera, I'm going to rip this bad boy open, and then we'll get into the review. Okay, so here is the Spider-Man 2099 Miguel O'Hara figure out of the package, voiced by the awesome actor Oscar Isaac. And this is kind of a funky figure. I thought it was going to be better than it is. It's actually not all that great, to be honest with you guys. So just to get it out of the way right away, here we have the side-by-side comparison with the Miles Morales figure. Spider-Man 2099 comes with one set of extra hands. So out of the package, he has fists. And then he also includes these like open hands here. And these hands look pretty good. The paint on them right on the inside of the palm and a little bit of design on the outside. Yeah. But there he is. I am a little disappointed in the figure, to be honest with you. It's not as good as I had hoped it would be. It's not terrible by any means, but there's some things that I just really don't like about it. And then I do have a little bit of a QC issue on mine. I don't know if it's going to be something that all the figures will have. But let's kind of get right into that right now. Let's get in for a closer look at Spider-Man 2099, and then we'll check out his articulation and go from there. And I will do a comparison with the comic book version. So let's go. Okay, so here's the up-close look at Spider-Man 2099, and one thing that I don't like is these red shoulders. The shininess of the plastic makes it look a little bit cheap. It doesn't necessarily feel cheaper than other Marvel Legends figures, but it just gives that cheap look because it's not painted, it's just the plastic of it. The Spider logo here looks really good. One thing that does look really bad, though, is BAM! When you crunch him back, lean him back, they did not continue the paint of the Spider logo. Like, why didn't they do that? It looks so bad. I don't understand. Like some figures, right? Miles Morales, look at that. They continued the Spider logo, right? That looks pretty good. What happened here? They decided not to do it, or it was an oversight or something, but they messed up. That looks bad. And then, of course, kind of the pointy parts there don't look good either, but, you know, that's just kind of the design of the figure itself. But, yeah, that's bad. They should have continued on with some of the Spider logo there. They did not. The proportions of this guy are weird, like weird-shaped head and everything like that. It's kind of odd. The other gripe that I have is here on the web cape. So the web cape is translucent. There's some red in it, but then you could see where it was keyed into the back of the figure there, and it's just like huge. And that's, you know, I don't know how they could have avoided that. Maybe they couldn't have. It's just weird looking at it. So that's another complaint. That one's pretty minor. And then my QC issue on mine is this arm. As you can see, it's very wobbly on there. It should not be. As you can see, this one really doesn't have that problem, but this one, like you could see, it's hanging on to that arm peg a little bit, and then I can kind of force it back up a little bit, and it seems to be a little bit sturdier, but still an issue on mine. Now, I don't know if that's something that's going to be kind of with everyone's, but that's definitely just mine so far. His upper legs have no design, no texture, no sculpted detail, no paint whatsoever, but the lower legs do, and that's sculpted on there, and then red paint, and then red paint at the bottom of his feet. His feet are really small, because again, the proportions of these designs, because they're stylized for the movie, are really, really odd. So, you know, he's got thin, narrow legs, but his upper body is like huge, and the torso is hollow, so it's not like super heavy up top to where that's going to be an issue. Even the cape itself, you know, this is a pretty thin, pliable plastic, so it's not adding a massive amount of weight to it. But the little legs and the little feet definitely make him a little bit tricky when it comes to balancing and trying to get him to stand in certain poses. So that kind of sucks as well. Yeah, and then on the arms, he's got these big ass blade pieces here that attach to the forearm. They're just kind of, keyed and glued into there. They're pretty soft and pliable, though. You're not going to poke yourself or anything like that. So there's no kind of worry there. But yeah, that is Spider-Man 2099. Some sculpted detail in the shoulders, as you can see there. Some textured detail in the chest of that spider logo. Not a whole lot, but there is a little bit. But the rest of the figure is just all smooth. So no crazy amount of texture like Miles Morales had, or has. Excuse me. But yeah, there he is. So now let's go ahead and check out his articulation. Okay, so Spider-Man 2099's articulation. One thing that I'm going to bring up here, and I forgot to mention it, when you move the waist, it breaks up the spider logo. So either they could have shortened the logo or used something else, but that like really throws off the design of it. So just a heads up on that. Anyway, so Spider-Man 2099, he can't really look up a whole lot. That's the most there. It looks like it's just on a dumbbell joint, not a disc hinge. But yeah, it's not a whole lot. Looking down, not a whole lot either. And he's pretty damn tall, so he's going to have to really look down to pretty much everybody. Full rotation in that head sculpt, of course, and then you do get like an insane amount of pivot, which is good. Because of that dumbbell joint, it really allows for that. The shoulder, you can get the arm to go straight on out. You get a full rotation in there, of course. Upper bicep swivel, and again, mine has a very loose left arm. Hopefully that's not something that we see on everybody's. It is pinless, so there is a pinless elbow. You get a double jointed elbow, which gives you that much bend there, which is pretty good. Oh, look at that. I just pulled the whole damn thing right on off. Son of a bitch. Let me see. Okay, well, it pops back on, but again, still loose. A figure should not easily do that. Like if you warm it up, then you should be able to pop it off, but it should not be able to come off on its own. Again, QC issue with mine. Don't know if that's going to be with everybody, so just a heads up on that. Wrist swivel, and you do have a hinge. The open hands do have the same horizontal hinge as well. Spider-Man 2099 has an ab crunch, so he can crunch forward that much, which is decent. It's just his upper body is just so large compared. He can go back. The web cape doesn't really get in the way, but again, ugly, ugly, ugly. They should have continued paint. Why they didn't, I don't know, but it sucks. We got the waist swivel in there, and again, that breaks up the spider logo, but not really a way to avoid that, unfortunately. Legs go out that far apart. He can kick forward that far, which is pretty standard, I guess. Doesn't really go back on the leg. You get an upper thigh cut in there. Pinless double jointed knee, which gives you that much bend there. Not too shabby. No calf swivel or anything like that. These legs are a lot more sturdier than Miles Morales. They're a lot thicker, still pretty thin, but they're not as flexible as like the Miles Morales one was. Foot hinges a crazy amount down, and then you get some hinge going on up, ankle pivot, and peg holes at the bottom of the feet. Yeah, so decent articulation, not a whole lot going on in the head, and then just ugly things like the waist turn and the ab crunch. But, decent enough articulation for Spider-Man 2099. Okay, and here is the side-by-side comparison with the comic version of Spider-Man 2099. This was the first original release in the Hobgoblin wave, I think it was, way back when Marvel Legends was Infinite series. So here we have the comparisons. You could see, the inspiration of the two, but definitely very, very, very different. I like on the Spider-Man 2090, the web cape just kind of pegged into the back. It would have been, I don't know that it would have been nice, but that's something that they could have done for this figure instead of having this big old thing with the translucent, if it just kind of like plugged in somewhere in the back. Unfortunately, it does not. We do get a little bit of paint work and design on the back of the figure as well, so just a heads up on that. Not as ugly a back crunch on the sculpt like Miles, but yeah. Movie versus comic. And of course, the multiverse of Spider-Verse, multiverse, Spider-Verse, the Spider-Verse. Here we have different Spider-Man from across the multiverse, Spider-Ham, Spider-Gwen. This is not the new Spider-Gwen. That is probably going to be the next video at some point, maybe late tonight or tomorrow. But here we have kind of some Spider-Verse crew looking together. I'm excited for the movie, excited to see what Spider-Man 2099 is really going to be all about. The figure is a little bit disappointing for me, even though I know that it's going to be one of the ones that people are really going to want from the wave. But for me, it's definitely not going to be the best. I think Spider-Punk is going to be a better figure. The Miles Morales, I think, is a little bit of a better figure. Spider-Gwen's going to be really good. Jessica Drew, I think, will be okay. And the Spot will just be okay. But Spider-Man 2099, I still think that people are really going to want to pick up that figure. But you guys let me know down in the comments below, what do you think of this Spider-Man 2099 figure? What do you think of the wave so far and the whole retro card, but not really retro aspect of it? At least we get plastic again, but no Build-A-Figure. Let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comments below. If you guys like this video, please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. Hit that join button to become a channel member and be a part of the MCU Collective. And as always, thank you for watching.